السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله إن الحمد لله نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Bismillah, inshallah, today we're going to start by introducing a major issue that's not only being faced by Muslims, but it's a global issue, it's a human issue. And it's an issue that most humans and Muslims alike do not give much attention to it, and they're very heedless. It's the issue of what's happening and what we're doing to our environment. Contrary to what many of us believe, Islam and the Quran and the Prophet ﷺ have said much about our environment. And unfortunately, we don't do anything for our environment, and we do the opposite. We constantly continue to hurt it. To introduce the problem simply, a couple of very short points. This can be made into multiple khutbahs, but we know we have problems with our global temperature. Right? The temperature is rising, and this is not theoretical, this is something that we can physically see just by recording daily temperatures. Because of temperatures rising, we physically see the cold countries, like Antarctica, is melting, and because it's melting and the ice is melting, the ocean waters are rising. And again, we can physically see countries like my own Bangladesh is actually losing part of its land every single day because the land is being engulfed by water. We physically see that we are destroying the forest, the natural habitats of animals across the globe. We're destroying and cutting down wood everywhere to make space for humans and development in factories. And we undoubtedly are destroying by our air pollution, our plastic pollution is engulfing, putting tons and tons of garbage into our own water, the same water that we like to enjoy and to visit and to see. And lastly, we're polluting by producing so much food that we need hundreds and thousands of factories just to feed us in Western countries like America and countries in Europe, while the other half of the world is barely eating and is in starvation. These are all very devastating points, but alhamdulillah, Islam has given us a solution for all of these, and not just for Muslims, but for everyone on the planet. It's amazing to think about that our Prophet ﷺ was talking about protection of the environment before this was even a thought in anybody in the West. This wasn't even a thing, this wasn't an idea in their heads. The thought of protecting trees and animals never crossed the minds of anybody who lived 1400 years ago. But it's mentioned by Prophet ﷺ, and it's mentioned in the Quran. From an Islamic perspective, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُم مَّا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مِّنْهُ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Allah starts with telling us that the samawats and the ard, the heavens and the earth, right? Not just the earth, the heavens and the skies and the stars too, were given to us humans, as a blessing, as a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of His mercy. And this is a sign for people who ponder upon it. And if you ponder upon it, you'll quickly realize that humans were the only animal species that have consciousness. We can think, right? The other animals can't protect themselves. And And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us elsewhere that He has appointed us humans as Khalifa, as caretakers, stewards of this planet. That is a very high status that we were given. We are appointed as caretakers of this planet. And if we are caretakers of this planet, it goes without saying we have to do everything we can to continue to take care of this planet. We also know from a general hadith, the Prophet ﷺ tells us, لا ضرر ولا ضرار, that do not cause harm directly and do not cause reciprocating harm. And what this means is you're not allowed to, for example, hit somebody that's causing direct harm, that's haram, but you're also not to do harm that can be, like a side effect. For example, if you are watering the plants even on the side of in your backyard, and the water leaks to your neighbor's backyard, and because of that it somehow destroys something in his backyard, you might have been doing something good by taking care of your backyard, but you're causing reciprocating harm. That too is haram. You can't do something that will lead to harm somewhere else. And that's what our Prophet ﷺ has lived by and taught us. We know from another ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, إِنَّ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا سُبْحَانَكَ فَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Then again, the heavens and the earth, this planet, is a gift for us, and it's something to ponder upon. And the believers who ponder upon this blessing while sitting and standing and laying down, they think and they say, Subhanak, like, glory be to you, Allah. Rabbana ma khalaqta hadha batilan. You created all of this, all of the trees and the sun and the stars and the water and all of this beauty. You didn't create it for nothing. Right? This wasn't just, as Muslims, we don't believe this just happened as a big thing, as a coincidence. Right? All of this was created for a reason. So as Muslims, we're constantly told to ponder upon this fact that the heavens and the earth were created by Allah and were a gift and is a gift to us. Now these are all general commandments of how the earth is a gift to us and how we should, as a gift, protect the earth. Let's go into more specific Islamic texts that directly command us to protect the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, إِنَّ الْمُبَذِّرِينَ كَانُوا إِخْوَانَ الشَّيَاطِينِ وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِرَبِّهِ كَفُورًا. A very strong ayah that can be its own talk on its own. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, indeed, the ones who are wasteful are brothers of the shaitan, of the devil. وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِرَبِّهِ كَفُورًا. And the shaitan to his Lord is ever ungrateful. The first part of the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very clearly telling us the people who waste can be as evil as brothers, a sibling to the shaitan. May Allah protect us from this. And the shaitan has always been and is always ungrateful to his Lord. And the word used here is kafura, or the shaitan is kafura, which sounds like kafir, or non-Muslim, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not telling us that shaitan is a non-Muslim here. He's using the word kafura as ungrateful. And we know ungratefulness is so serious that it's similar to kufr, because being grateful equates to being a believer, and being ungrateful equates to being like non-believers, as a non-Muslim. When we start to talk about waste, it's very humbling and it's a very scary reminder. Alhamdulillah, everybody here in America and in the West, we're extremely privileged when it comes to what we have, when it comes to our clothing and our food, that unfortunately, inshallah, it's unconscious, we waste. And again, hopefully we don't waste on purpose, but we waste our food and we buy more food than we need. And because of our consumption, because of how much we continue to buy, the companies and so on will continue to produce, and they'll go into other countries and take their resources and destroy those lands just to ship it back here for us in America because of how much we need and how much we want. Just food alone. From research, we know that the amount of food produced in the world today is enough to feed everybody on the planet. But we also know that just in America, there are millions of people who go hungry every single day. And outside of America, we know that there's hundreds of millions of people who are hungry every single day. But somehow we are producing enough food to feed everybody on the planet. The waste is very much produced by the major companies, but also each individual household, and we're in America, so I'll speak about America, is wasting an average of 220 pounds of food every single year. 220 pounds of food on average is wasted by an American household, right? And we are obviously included in this. Just think about if you were seeing your neighbor one day take out 10 pounds of food, 100 pounds of food, and just throw it in the garbage. Inshallah, you would be appalled, you would be shocked, you would be angry, right, at your neighbor for throwing away so much food. But we can't just be angry about wasting a large amount of food. Right? We're not even allowed to waste a small amount. Our Prophet ﷺ one day was walking on the street and he sees a date, and the date's just there, nobody's around it, it's just wasted, right? And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam says he would have eaten the date. He would have eaten the date just to save it from being wasted instead of it being thrown away like that. The only reason he didn't eat it was because that date could be a gift from somebody else. So he didn't want to take the charity or the zakah or sadaqah that somebody else's. This tells us very simply, our Prophet ﷺ wouldn't even waste a simple date. How much on a daily basis of our plate, when we put food on our plate, how much of that plate is even eaten and how much of it is thrown away? It's clearly a lot. It's so much so that it's filling up our landfills, the garbage places, with just food. Food that can easily be given and eaten by the people who go hungry around us. Our children, we allow them to do the same thing, fill up plates of food, just for them to eat a fifth of it, not even, and throw it right into the trash. May Allah protect us. Our Prophet ﷺ, he also tells us in a hadith, in a story, he tells us in a story that a man was very thirsty. He was very thirsty for water, and he comes across a well, and he finds the well, and alhamdulillah, he is able to quench his thirst. And he gets out of the well, and outside the well he sees a dog, and the dog is extremely thirsty too. The dog is so thirsty that it's licking the mud, because the mud is a little more moist, and it needs water. So the man fills his shoe with water, goes down to the well, and gives the water to the dog. And our Prophet ﷺ, what a great reward this man has gotten for taking care of an animal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ told us that in the hadith directly, that Allah thanked him. Right? He didn't just get a reward for it. Allah thanked this man for the reward and forgave him for taking care of the animal. And the point is, the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahabas asked the Prophet, "O Prophet Allah, we know that taking care of a human, helping a human, is good, but taking care of an animal too? The Prophet ﷺ says, yes, for every single living creature, there is a reward. Anything that's animate, anything that's a living being, there's a reward for us. Again, a general reminder. Yes, most of us would feed a thirsty dog, but go further than that. What about when, because of your waste and your pollution, and because you're driving and you throw out the soda can out the car in the highway, or you throw out your plastic, because of that, you might have killed an animal. The opposite is true, right? You would feed the dog the water, but you wouldn't protect the animal from harm. You wouldn't protect the animal from your plastic and your waste. Inshallah, we do both. We feed a thirsty animal, but we also protect the animal from our own waste. I want to end with a couple arguments or a couple common things that people say when speaking about environment. Number one, very commonly heard, is why should I recycle, or why should I care about what I waste when the companies, billion-dollar companies, they're wasting so much. It doesn't matter if I recycle a can of soda. It doesn't matter if I save this plate of food. It's not like the plate of food is going to go back to Bangladesh or Pakistan. It's going to stay here in America. Nobody's going to eat it. Why shouldn't I waste it? I'm not hungry. It's true that the companies are wasting on a scale that we can't do anything about. But again, Islam teaches us a very beautiful principle. On the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not ask you, what did Coca-Cola do or Nestle do, and how much plastic did they put on the earth? You will be asked about yourself. Did you take care of the earth? Did you do what you were supposed to? Did you do what you know could protect the earth? And then where's your answer? Because we, again, will not be asked about what anybody else is doing. We won't even be asked about our neighbor. You're only going to be asked about yourself. Another common argument is, again, it's just a small amount of food, right? It's just one apple or so on. And again, we know from our teaching of the Prophet ﷺ that even a little bit of it matters. And yes, it's ship that apple back home or to somebody hungry. But that doesn't mean that you have the right to waste even the smallest amount of it. Why? Because again, when we talk about wasting, people who waste are like the brothers of shaitan, and they are ungrateful. Wasting even a little bit, yes, it's not going to do anything. You put it in the trash and nobody will know. But wasting in and of itself is showing that part of you is ungrateful. Because if somebody gives you a gift, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us a gift, how do you turn around and throw that gift away? That's the opposite of being grateful. That is showing that you are ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know as Muslims we are undoubtedly commanded to be of those who are grateful. And the last argument I'll mention is, I don't believe in climate change or global warming. And without getting into that, that's fine. You can't use your non-beliefs against everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, right? You don't need to believe in climate change to protect the earth. As Muslims, the difference between us and non-Muslims, and many scholars have mentioned this very beautifully, that we don't take care of the earth because of climate change. We have been told to take care of the earth 1400 years ago. We're not supposed to just do it now because things are changing and the ice is melting. We have been commanded to take care of the earth by the Prophet ﷺ in the Quran, right? Explicitly and inexplicitly. 1400 years ago, before the word global warming was even a thing. So it doesn't matter what your opinion is of climate change and global warming, whether it's real or not, whether you deny it or not, that doesn't matter. We are commanded to take care of this planet and to show our gratefulness because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has simply commanded us, because we are Muslims. Brothers, if you can please move forward, there's a lot of people in the hallway. Please make space for your brothers in the back. To add, at the very least, if you can take from this khutbah, just to understand that part of being grateful is to not waste, right? By wasting, you are ungrateful. So part of being a grateful Muslim and a grateful person to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to not waste. And I hope that inshallah, that we start having these conversations in our community, in our households, that the children who are honestly more environmentally conscious can speak to their parents, and the parents can speak to their children to start this conversation. And inshallah, we can reduce our waste in our households and reduce the amount of food that we waste. Due to time, we can't get into specific things that you can do, but it's on you to research how you can help, how you can reduce waste. Very simply, starting with food waste, which is one of the most egregious things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to protect our water. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to protect the grass and the plants. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to protect animals and to protect humans. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Brothers and sisters, to end, learn more to be better, and to be examples for your kids, and to the generations, and to protect the future generations of human beings. Be better and be green Muslims, and be an example for the world around us. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us good in this life, good in the next life, and protect us from the hellfire. ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين أجمعين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم واتقوه ويجعل لكم من أمركم مخرجا. وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا